Have you ever felt a smile that looked warm, but somehow chilled your heart? That's exactly what happened to me the day my daughter handed me a surprise I should never have trusted. My name is Maria. I'm 60 years old, and I've spent my entire life loving my children with every breath inside me. I thought love made me safe. I thought motherhood protected me. I was wrong. 3 days before everything changed, my daughter Elena walked into my home wearing a smile I hadn't seen in years. She held a golden envelope, so shiny and beautiful, it could blind a tired mother like me. "Mama," she said, hugging me tighter than usual, "you deserve something special. You've worked your whole life. You've sacrificed enough. So, we're sending you on a luxury cruise." A cruise. My heart almost melted. The Caribbean. 7 days, first class. A dream I had postponed my entire life because my children always came first. I cried. I truly cried. "Mi ama," Elena whispered sweetly. "You need this break. Go breathe. Go be happy for once." But something in her eyes didn't match her words. Her smile was wide, but her gaze didn't meet mine. Still, I ignored my instincts. Mothers do that a lot. We doubt ourselves before doubting our children. That night I folded my clothes slowly, feeling an uneasiness I couldn't explain. Why now? Why this sudden gift? Why this sudden love when she'd barely visited me the past 6 months? But I silenced every doubt, because I wanted to believe my daughter still loved me the way I loved her. The morning of the trip, I left home early, but halfway to the port, I realized I had forgotten my blood pressure medicine. I returned quietly, not wanting to wake the old floors of my house, or Elena, who I thought had already left. But when I opened the door, I heard her voice in the living room. Cold, sharp, nothing like the sweet daughter I knew. "Yes," she whispered on the phone. "Mama already left. No, she suspects nothing. It's a one-way trip. Once she's out at sea, it'll look like an accident. 60-year-old woman slipping off a balcony? No one questions that." My heart cracked. My hands shook. My own daughter, my own flesh, planning my death as casually as gossip. I stood behind the door frozen, breath trapped in my throat, listening to the child I raised with my whole soul say, "Don't worry, her life insurance covers everything. After this, we'll pay all our debts." In that moment, something inside me died, but something else was born. A woman who would no longer be fooled. And I promised myself right there, if my daughter wants to play this game, she will regret choosing me as her target. What did Maria do next? Run? Confront Elena? Or quietly prepare for the deadliest week of her life? Have you ever had your whole world collapse in one single breath, yet you had to pretend nothing happened? That's exactly what I had to do the moment I heard my daughter planning my death. Inside my own home, I stood behind the door, frozen, listening to the child I raised, Elena, my pride, my heartbeat, whisper instructions to end my life. My mind screamed, "Run, Maria, run!" But something stronger spoke louder inside me. "Don't let her know you heard anything. Not yet." So I stepped back, breathed deeply, and walked away from the house quietly, as if I had never returned. The taxi driver asked me if everything was okay. I forced a smile that hurt my jaw. Yes, just a mix-up. But inside, I was breaking. During the entire drive to the port, memories flooded me. Memories of the years I gave everything to my children. I worked double shifts, sold my jewelry, stayed awake through fevers and heartbreaks. all so they would never suffer, and now Elena was ready to trade my life for a pile of bills. Why? What had gone so wrong? At the port, the cruise ship stood tall like a floating city, white, grand, beautiful. Families laughed, couples hugged, children ran with excitement. And there I was, stepping into a luxury vacation designed to kill me. The moment I boarded, a staff member smiled warmly. "Welcome aboard, Ms. Hernandez. First cruise?" "Yes," I replied softly, pretending to be a harmless old woman. Inside, I was already building a plan. My cabin was on the 8th floor, facing the ocean, perfect place for an accidental fall, exactly as Elena had mentioned. I stood on the balcony, looking at the endless water. The waves moved softly, like they were waiting for me. For the first time, fear truly hit me. If I slip, if someone pushes me, no one will ever know the truth. But that fear became fuel. I sat on the bed and reached for my phone. Weeks earlier, a neighbor had given me the number of a private investigator who had helped her with a violent ex-husband. I had saved it, never imagining I'd need it for my own daughter. I dialed the number with trembling fingers. "Detective Rivas speaking," a deep, calm voice answered. "This is Maria Hernandez," I whispered. I need help. My daughter is planning to kill me on this cruise." Silence. Then the detective spoke slowly, choosing his words with care. "Miss Hernandez, that's a very serious claim. Are you certain?" I heard her, word for word. My voice cracked. "She wants the insurance money." Detective Rivas inhaled sharply. "Okay, listen carefully. I will investigate her finances and connections, but you must stay alert. Do not confront her. Do not trust anyone on that ship. And call me whenever you can." I agreed, but before hanging up, he added, "Maria, someone who plans murder rarely works alone. Be careful." His words chilled my bones, because deep down, I already felt eyes watching me. Who was watching Maria on the ship? A stranger, a hired accomplice, or someone she already knew? Have you ever felt someone staring at you, even before you turned your head? That's the feeling that followed me the entire second day aboard the cruise. The ship was stunning. Restaurants that smelled like heaven, music floating through the halls, and ocean views that could soften any heart. But not mine. Not anymore. Every step I took, the fear of being watched pressed against my back like a cold hand. Elena wasn't on the ship, but that didn't mean she didn't send someone. And then I saw him, a man in a blue jacket sitting alone in the main dining area, around my age, maybe a little older, with sharp eyes that noticed everything. While the rest of the passengers laughed and enjoyed their meals, he barely moved. He stared straight at me and didn't look away. My heartbeat stumbled. Is he the one? Did Elena send him? I forced myself to sit at the nearest table and pretend to enjoy my lunch, though the food tasted like dust on my tongue. After a few minutes, he stood up and started walking toward me. My hands tightened around my fork. If he came too close, I didn't know whether to scream or pretend I was clueless. But when he finally reached my table, his voice surprised me. "Excuse me," he said gently. "You look uneasy. Are you all right?" Something about his tone felt genuine, soft, human. Still, I didn't trust easily anymore. "I'm fine," I lied. "Just tired." He nodded, studying me with eyes that weren't dangerous, but observant. "My name is Samuel, from Denver. First cruise?" I hesitated. "Yes, my daughter gifted it to me." His eyebrows lifted slightly, as if that detail mattered more to him than it should have. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. Every part of me screamed, "Don't trust him." But something else whispered, "You need allies, Maria." So I nodded slowly. The more he talked, the more I realized Samuel was sharp. Too sharp. He noticed small details, like my shaking hands and the way I kept scanning the room. He even lowered his voice when he said, "You're scared of something, aren't you?" My throat tightened. "I'm just tired," I repeated. He watched me for a few seconds, then leaned closer. "Listen, I've seen a lot in my life. People running from something, people hiding things, and I can tell something is wrong. If anyone is bothering you, I can help." His offer was kind, but kindness could be a mask. So instead of admitting anything, I said, "Thank you. I'll be okay." He nodded and stood to leave, but before walking away, he said, "Be careful tonight. The ship gets quiet after midnight. Too quiet." A chill ran through me. Because that wasn't a random warning, it felt like a message, or a threat, or both. But the worst part wasn't Samuel. It was what I noticed next. When I glanced up at the balcony above the dining hall, another man, one in a green shirt, quickly turned away the second my eyes met his. He had been watching me the whole time. Who is the man in the green shirt? A spy? A hired killer? Or someone connected to Elena's plan? Do you know the feeling when danger is close, even if no one has said a word? That's exactly what I felt the moment my eyes met the man in the green shirt. He stood on the upper balcony, pretending to admire the ocean, but the second he noticed I'd caught him staring, he snapped his head away. Too fast, too guilty. My stomach tightened. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't curiosity. This was surveillance. I turned back to my food, pretending I hadn't noticed. But my heartbeat wouldn't slow. Was this the person Elena had sent? Was he the one meant to carry out the accident? I needed to be smarter than him, smarter than all of them. After lunch, I walked slowly through the ship's hallway, acting as if I were simply exploring, but I was really checking if someone was following me. Sure enough, the man in the green shirt appeared again, not too close, not too far, just near enough to watch. He paused by the gift shop when I paused. He walked when I walked. He stopped pretending after a while. He just stared, without shame. My hands began to shake, but I kept my pace steady. I refused to let him see fear. By the time I reached the elevator, my palms were sweating. The doors opened. I stepped inside, and just before they closed, he turned the corner. He didn't run. He didn't call out. He just watched the door shut with an expression that made my skin crawl. When I reached the 8th floor, I didn't go to my cabin. I wasn't stupid. If someone was following me, the last place I'd go was the room Elena planned for my accident. Instead, I headed straight to the ship's small library, where there were always people around. I needed to think clearly, and I needed to contact Detective Rivas. I waited until no one stood too close, then called him from between two tall shelves. "Detective," I whispered, "someone is watching me. A man. I've seen him 3 times today. He's following every step I take." "Describe him," he said immediately. "Green shirt, around 40, dark hair, sharp face. He's everywhere I go." There was a long pause on his end. "Maria, listen very carefully. People who plan murders rarely trust only one person. Your daughter might have hired help." My chest tightened. "So he's a threat?" "Most likely, yes. Don't confront him. Don't go anywhere alone. And for God's sake, stay away from your cabin balcony." I swallowed hard. "Detective, what do I do now?" "If he's watching you, that means he's waiting for the right moment, so we must find out what moment he's waiting for." Before I could ask what he meant, I heard footsteps behind me, slow, careful. Approaching the aisle I was hiding in, it was him, the man in the green shirt, standing at the end of the row, pretending to browse magazines. But his eyes were locked on me. Does Maria confront him, run, or cleverly set a trap? And is Samuel truly an ally, or another danger? Have you ever felt danger getting closer, even when you pretend not to see it? That's what I felt in the library as the man in the green shirt stood at the end of the aisle, pretending to flip through a magazine. My breath tightened. My fingers trembled around my phone, but I forced myself to stay calm. Panic would only make me a perfect target. Detective Rivas's voice whispered through the phone, "Maria, leave the library. Slowly. Walk into a crowded place, somewhere with cameras, somewhere public." I slipped the phone into my pocket and pretended to pick out a book, then calmly walked away. I could hear his footsteps behind me, not fast, not slow, deliberate. The steps of someone who already knew his mission. I headed straight for the ship's casino, one of the busiest areas on board. Bright lights, ringing machines, laughing passengers. It was the kind of place where even evil had to put on a polite smile. The moment I entered, I felt a little safer. Security cameras glowed from the ceiling, and staff walked everywhere. If he wanted to try something here, it wouldn't be easy. I took a seat at a slot machine and acted confused and slightly dizzy, just as Detective Rivas had advised. A vulnerable target attracts careless predators, and right on cue, he sat at the machine right next to me. "First time on a cruise?" he asked with a smile that didn't touch his eyes. I nodded, letting my voice wobble. "Yes, my daughter gifted me this trip. She said I needed to relax." I laughed nervously, pretending I'd had too much champagne. His eyes flashed with interest. "Oh, so you're traveling alone?" That question confirmed everything. "Yes," I said softly, as if I were proud of it. "Just me, all by myself." He leaned back, pretending to spin the slot machine. "That can be dangerous for someone your age," he said lightly. "Balconies get slippery, railings are low, easy to lose balance." My stomach twisted. He knew exactly how Elena planned to end my life, so I decided to give him something. "Oh, I know," I said dramatically. "Yesterday I got so dizzy on my balcony I almost grabbed the railing to steady myself. If I slipped, I'd fall right into the ocean." I laughed like a clueless woman. His lips curved slowly, a cruel, satisfied smile. There, he believed I was weak. He believed I was alone. He believed I was stupid. Good, because now I had bait. He stood abruptly. "Well, ma'am, enjoy the rest of your evening." Then he walked toward the casino's back exit, where the ship's public phones were. My heart raced. Was he calling Elena? Reporting what I'd just said? Confirming how easy the plan would be? A minute later, someone tapped my shoulder. I jumped, only to see Samuel standing behind me. His expression was serious, too serious. "Maria," he said quietly, "I need to talk to you, and you need to hear this now." My breath hitched. Why did he look so tense? What did he know? Is Samuel a friend or another hidden enemy? And what secret is he about to reveal to Maria? Some moments in life feel like the lights dim, the music stops, and the world holds its breath. A pause before everything explodes, a stillness before the real storm arrives. That's exactly what this moment felt like when Samuel placed his hand on my shoulder inside the casino. He didn't smile. He didn't hide his worry. His voice was low, tense, almost trembling. "Maria, we need to talk somewhere quiet. What I'm about to tell you, you deserve to know." My chest tightened. Quiet? After everything? After being followed? After learning my own daughter wanted me dead? But his eyes weren't threatening. They were heavy, like he was carrying something painful. I followed him to the ship's lounge, where soft music played and only a few passengers sat scattered around. The lights were low, painting everything in gold. It felt like the calm pause in a movie, right before the truth shatters everything. Samuel sat across from me, elbows on his knees, breathing deeply. I could tell he was fighting with himself about whether to speak. Finally, he said, "Maria, I didn't get on this cruise for vacation." My heart skipped. "I'm looking for someone," he continued. "Someone dangerous, someone who ruins families." His words sank like anchors. "And when I met you," he said softly, "I realized you're tied to this more than you know." My breath froze. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. His jaw tightened. "Your daughter, Elena, she isn't just in debt, Maria. She owes money to the wrong people. People who don't forgive. People who make others vanish." My hands clutched the sides of my seat. He looked at me with deep sympathy. "I wasn't sure it was you at first, but today I saw the man in the green shirt. His name is Rico. I've been tracking him for months. He works for the same organization Elena owes money to." The lounge felt suddenly colder. My pulse hammered in my ears. "So, Elena didn't plan this alone," I whispered. "No," Samuel said. "She was pressured, threatened, and the people she's involved with, they don't let anyone walk away clean." The music around us softened, almost fading away like background noise in a tense movie scene. I felt my world twisting. This wasn't just betrayal. This wasn't just greed. This was criminal. This was deadly. "She could have told me," I whispered, voice cracking. "She could have asked for help." Samuel nodded gently. "I know, but desperation makes people dangerous." My vision blurred with tears. It wasn't just murder now. It was a web, a trap that was closing in from all sides. Then Samuel leaned closer, voice low and urgent. "Maria, listen to me. This cruise, this week, this is the final chance for them. If they fail to get what they want, they will come after you in ways you can't imagine." I swallowed hard. "So what do I do?" He looked me straight in the eyes. "You survive. You think smart, and you prepare, because the real danger hasn't even started yet." The ship horn echoed outside, long, deep, haunting, like a warning. This was the interval, the moment before everything erupts. The hunt is about to begin. Who strikes first? Maria, Samuel, or the criminals closing in? Some moments don't just happen, they signal the beginning of war. Leaving the lounge after Samuel's confession felt like walking out of safety and stepping straight into a battlefield I never trained for. My heart pounded as we moved down the hallway. The ship suddenly felt different, narrower, darker, like every corner could hold a pair of eyes waiting for me. Samuel kept his voice low as he walked beside me. "Maria, they won't wait long. Rico saw you alone. That means you're already marked." Marked. The word made my knees weaken. "But I'm not going to let anything happen to you," he added, eyes scanning the area constantly. "Not if we stay one step ahead." One step ahead. How was I supposed to do that against people who killed for a living? We reached a quieter part of the ship, the hallway near the art gallery. Soft lights, empty corridors, slow echoing footsteps, and a silence that made my spine tense. "Why are we here?" I whispered. Samuel pointed to a small staircase that led to a restricted staff area. "They won't follow us down here. Too many cameras, too many witnesses. We need time to think." But just as he said that, a shadow shifted at the far end of the hallway. Rico, green shirt, sharp eyes, a smile that didn't belong to a human being. He wasn't hiding anymore. He wasn't pretending. He walked slowly toward us, like he already knew how the story would end. "Maria," Samuel whispered, "stay behind me." But Rico raised his hand politely, like he was greeting old friends. "Well, well," he said with a cold grin. "The lady of the hour." My throat closed. His eyes were dark, hungry. Samuel stepped forward. "Walk away, Rico. This doesn't need to get loud." Rico chuckled. "Oh, Samuel, always the hero. You should have stayed out of this." My hands shook so violently I had to grip the railing beside me to stay upright. Then Rico's gaze landed directly on me. "Your daughter sends her love," he said softly. "Poor thing. She thought this would be easy." The words punched me in the stomach. I almost collapsed. He continued walking closer, slow and sure, like a predator finally cornering prey. Samuel whispered urgently, "Maria, listen to me. When I move, you go. Don't look back." My pulse thundered. Rico was just 10 steps away now. 9, 8. His smile widened. "You know the best part about the ocean?" he whispered. "It hides everything." Before my brain could even react, Samuel shoved me backwards toward the staircase. "Run!" Rico lunged. Samuel intercepted him, slamming him into the wall. The sound echoed through the hallway, fist against bone, metal railing shaking, 2 men locked in a deadly struggle. I stumbled down the stairs, gripping the rail, tears blurring my vision. Samuel yelled, "Go, Maria, now!" Rico roared like an animal. Footsteps hammered above me. Something crashed. Someone groaned in pain. Was it Samuel? Was he hurt? Was he still fighting for me? My chest burned with fear. But I kept running, because if I stopped, if I looked back, I knew I might never move again. This wasn't a cruise anymore. It was survival. Who won that fight above the stairs, Samuel or Rico? And what horrifying discovery is waiting for Maria next? Some sounds stay with you forever. The echo of a struggle, the crack of fists hitting walls, a man shouting your name to save your life. As I ran down the staff staircase, those sounds chased me like ghosts. I didn't know whether Samuel was still fighting, or if Rico had already overpowered him. I didn't know if Samuel was alive. And the not knowing tore at me. The lower deck hallway was cold and dimly lit. Crew-only signs lined the walls, and the faint hum of engines vibrated under my feet. I kept running until my legs trembled and my breath stabbed my chest. Finally, I reached a maintenance room and slipped inside, locking the door behind me. For a few seconds, I just stood there, gripping my shaking hands, listening for footsteps, praying not to hear them. Silence. But it wasn't comforting. It felt like silence that comes before disaster. I pulled out my phone with trembling fingers and dialed Detective Rivas. He answered immediately. "Maria, are you safe?" "No," I whispered, gasping. "Rico found me. Samuel tried to stop him. They're fighting upstairs. Detective, I don't know." "Maria, listen to me," Rivas cut in firmly. "If Rico is on that ship, they're accelerating the plan. You cannot go back to your cabin. You cannot go anywhere alone. Hide, but stay where people walk frequently." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to breathe. Then my phone buzzed. A notification, a video message from Elena. My blood went cold. Rivas heard my panic. "Who is that?" "It's her." My voice broke. "Detective, it's my daughter." He inhaled sharply. "Play it, Maria. I need to know what she says." Hands trembling, I opened the video. Elena appeared on the screen, but not the Elena I raised, not the little girl who used to braid my hair, not the young woman who laughed at silly jokes. This Elena looked exhausted, desperate, terrified beyond words. She was sitting in a dark room, eyes swollen from crying, her hair a mess. "Mama," she whispered, "please listen." My throat tightened. Tears slid down her cheeks. "I didn't want this. I swear I didn't. They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd kill me too." She sobbed into her hands. "I owe them money, Mama, so much. I tried to fix it, but everything got worse. And then they told me the only way to be free was... She couldn't say the words. Her lips trembled. "I'm so sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. I should have asked for help. I was scared." She cried harder, shaking uncontrollably. Then she whispered the words that stabbed straight into my soul. "They told me you wouldn't suffer. They told me it would be quick. I didn't know they'd send him." Her eyes widened suddenly, like someone was behind the camera. "Please believe me. I never wanted you dead. I didn't know what else to do." The video cut off. I stared at the screen, heartbeat pounding in my ears. My daughter didn't just betray me. She was trapped. She was terrified. She was next on their list if they failed. Detective Rivas spoke softly, voice heavy with concern. "Maria, this is no longer just about survival. It's about stopping them before they destroy both of you." A tear slipped down my cheek. Before I could respond, a loud thud hit the maintenance door. I froze. Another thud, then a slow, dragging sound. Someone was outside, and they knew where I was. Is it Samuel? Is it Rico? Or someone far worse? There are moments when your heartbeat becomes the loudest sound in the world. Standing in that dim maintenance room, hearing a heavy thud against the door. That was one of those moments. I pressed myself against the far wall, breath caught in my throat, phone still in my hand. The metal door rattled again, harder this time. "Detective," I whispered urgently. "Someone is here. Stay quiet." Rivas replied quickly. "Maria, do not open that door. Help is 30 minutes out. We've alerted the nearest Coast Guard unit." 30 minutes. 30 minutes felt like eternity with a killer only inches away. The dragging sound continued on the other side of the door, slow, deliberate. Then a knock. Not angry, not hurried, a calm, steady knock that made my skin crawl. "Maria." A man's voice. Low, quiet, too quiet. My blood turned to ice. It wasn't Rico's voice. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then the voice came again, slightly strained but recognizable. "Maria, it's me, Samuel." Samuel. My knees nearly buckled. I ran to the door and pressed my ear against it. "Samuel? Are you all right? What happened? Did Rico—" "Open the door," he said quickly. "We don't have time. He's still after you. I injured him, but he ran. We need to move." I reached for the lock, but something stopped me. His voice. It was Samuel's, but not quite. Too breathless, too rushed, too eager. I didn't unlock it. "Samuel, tell me something only you would know," I whispered. A pause, a long, heavy pause. Then, "You have a daughter named Elena," he said. My stomach dropped. Everyone involved knew that. I stepped back from the door. Samuel's tone sharpened, urgency turning into frustration. "Maria, what are you doing? Open the door." Detective Rivas spoke softly through the phone. "Maria, does that sound like him?" "No," I whispered, trembling. "It doesn't?" The voice behind the door slammed the metal with sudden violence. "Open it!" The walls shook. I gasped and backed away until I hit the shelves behind me. "Maria," Rivas said firmly. "Listen to me. Don't speak another word. Don't let him know you're doubting him. You need to buy time." Another bang. This time, the voice changed. It dropped lower, colder, and unmistakably dangerous. Now it sounded like Rico. "Oh, come on, señorita," he growled. "Let's make this easy. Nobody has to get hurt. Much." My breath shattered. Rico. He wasn't dead. He wasn't even slowed down. "Detective, what do I do?" I whispered, tears burning my eyes. "You hold on," he said. "You hold on and keep quiet. Help is coming. You must survive 30 more minutes. 30 more minutes with a killer on the other side of a thin metal door." Rico pounded again, then stopped. Silence fell. Heavy, deadly. I didn't dare breathe. Then, through the crack under the door, I saw it. A shadow. Not moving. Just waiting. He wasn't leaving. He was settling in, patient, like a hunter camping outside a rabbit hole. This wasn't just fear anymore. This was the edge of the final battle. The killer is inches away. The ship is vast, but Maria is trapped. The Coast Guard is still far. Samuel's fate is unknown. Elena is in deeper danger than anyone knew. How will Maria survive the final confrontation? Sometimes life corners you so tightly. You discover strength you never knew you had. Sitting in that cold maintenance room with Rico's shadow under the door, waiting like a hungry wolf. That was the moment I realized. I was done running. I was done crying. I was done being hunted. I was a mother, and mothers are warriors when pushed to the edge. The silence outside the door grew sharper. Rico hadn't left. He was waiting for me to make a mistake, waiting for fear to break me. Detective Rivas spoke in my ear, calm but urgent. "Maria, the Coast Guard is 10 minutes out. Hold on just a little longer." 10 minutes. I could survive 10 minutes, but Rico had other plans. Suddenly, metal screeched. A crowbar slammed between the door and frame. The lock bent with a horrible groan. I gasped and stumbled back, heart racing. "Marie," Rico sang softly. "Last chance to make this easy." No, not today. I grabbed the only thing I could find. A fire extinguisher mounted on the wall. My hands trembled, but my grip tightened. The lock cracked, the door dented. Rico pushed with all his strength. The door blew open. He stepped inside slowly, smiling like death itself. His face bruised from the fight with Samuel, shirt torn, eyes wild. "There you are," he whispered. Fear clawed at my throat, but I remembered something. I wasn't fighting for my life alone. I was fighting for Elena's, for the little girl I once carried in my arms, for the daughter who made a terrible mistake, but still begged for forgiveness. Rico lunged. I swung the fire extinguisher with everything inside me. The metal cracked against his skull. He stumbled, shocked. I hit him again and again. Every strike was years of sacrifice. Every scream was years of love. Every blow was a mother saying, "You will not take me from my child." Rico collapsed to the floor, groaning. I ran past him, heart exploding in my chest, sprinting down the corridor. Someone shouted behind me, but I didn't stop. Up the stairs, through the hallway, toward the nearest emergency exit. The ship alarm suddenly blared, crew members shouting, flashlights sweeping. The Coast Guard had arrived. 2 officers grabbed me as I burst onto the deck, trembling and sobbing. "He's in there," I cried. "He tried to kill me. Samuel tried to help. Please." Everything blurred. They stormed the lower deck. Minutes felt like hours. Finally they returned with Rico handcuffed, bleeding, defeated. and behind them, limping, bruised, exhausted, Samuel. He looked at me with relief so genuine, so human. I burst into tears. "You made it," he whispered. "I had to," I cried. "I'm a mother." Later that night, safe on a Coast Guard vessel, I called Elena. She sobbed the moment she heard my voice. "Mama, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "I know," I whispered, "and I forgive you, but now we fight this together." For the first time in days, the sun rose on the horizon, not just outside, but inside me. I survived, not because I'm strong, but because love is stronger than fear. If this story moved you, share it. If it shook you, tell someone. And if you have a mother, a daughter, or someone you love, call them today. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're there, because sometimes that's the one thing that saves a life.